Hello everyone, I'm Ihsan. In this video, we'll explore the new One UI 6.1 features that have just been arrived on the S23 Ultra series. Apart from the S23 Ultra series, several other Samsung series have also received this One UI 6.1 update, such as the Z Fold 5, Z Flip 5, and Tab S10 series. Now let's dive straight into the One UI 6.1 features on the S23 Ultra and compare which features differ from One UI 6.1 on the S24 Ultra series. The first feature we'll compare is the wallpaper transition feature from the lock screen to the home screen. In the S24 Ultra, in the previous version of One UI 6.1, there were several options for lock screen wallpaper animations transitioning from the lock screen to the home screen. However, the animation feature in the S23 Ultra after One UI 6.1 update, unfortunately, it seems that this feature is not available in this series. The transition remained the same as in the previous One UI 6.0 version on the S23 Ultra, without the seamless animation from the lock screen to the home screen. Next, the second feature we are curious to see is the wallpaper feature in the Always On display. Unfortunately, the second feature is also not available in the S23 Ultra series, even after updating to One UI 6.1. It's unclear why Samsung didn't introduce this feature, especially considering that the S23 Ultra appears to be capable of supporting this Always On display wallpaper feature, based on its screen specifications. Furthermore, since the Always On display wallpaper feature is not available in the S23 Ultra series, the feature to delete the background wallpaper in the Always On display is also not available in the One UI 6.1 version on the S23 Ultra series. Then there is also an interesting Always On display setting in the S24 Ultra series that is also not available in the S23 Ultra. In the S23 Ultra, after updating to One UI 6.1, there is still no auto options in the Always On display settings. These settings can automatically turn off the Always On display in dark places, such as when the phone is in the pocket or in a dark room. Even though this is a useful Always On display setting for daily use, unfortunately, this setting is also not available in the S23 Ultra. Then for some other display settings like adaptive color tone, which has just been introduced in the S24 Ultra series, it turns out that it's also not available in the S23 Ultra series. Then for the vividness settings on the Samsung S23 Ultra, it's also not available even after updating to One UI 6.1. Next, there is also a feature called Photo Ambient Wallpaper that's also not available on the S23 Ultra series. This feature can display wallpaper on the lock screen with animations according to the weather. Unfortunately, this feature is also not available on the Samsung S23 Ultra. Additionally, there is also the latest Super HDR feature in the gallery that's also not available on the Samsung S23 Ultra. When comparing photos in the gallery with Super HDR feature active on S24 Ultra, the photos appear much brighter on the Samsung S24 Ultra. Interestingly, these are the exact same photos taken with the S24 Ultra, and then we shared using Quick Share from the S24 Ultra to S23 Ultra. And here it turns out that the dynamic range quality of the photos look much better in the gallery of the Samsung S24 Ultra compared to the S23 Ultra. Then there is also a difference in shutter speed when taking photos on the S23 Ultra and S24 Ultra. When taking quick photos on both smartphones, the shutter speed is noticeably faster on the S24 Ultra compared to the S23 Ultra, even though the Samsung S23 Ultra has been updated to One UI 6.1. This could be due to improvements in the camera hardware of the S24 Ultra itself, allowing it to capture photos with a much faster shutter speed than the S23 Ultra. So it might not be something that can be improved through a software update only. Next, there's also a difference in the naming of Director's View feature, which has been changed to dual recording on the S24 Ultra. After updating to One UI 6.1 on the S23 Ultra, the Director's View mode still named Director's View and doesn't change to dual recording like on S24 Ultra. Additionally, despite the super slow motion feature being removed from the S24 Ultra series, it remains available on the S23 Ultra after updating to One UI 6.1. And for the feature of recording slow motion videos in 4K resolutions with a frame rate of 120 FPS, it also still remains absent on the S23 Ultra, even after updating to One UI 6.1. Additionally, the capability to record videos in 4K at a frame rate of 120 FPS in Pro Video is also absent on the S23 Ultra, and this feature remains exclusive to the Samsung S24 Ultra only so far. And for all the features earlier, they are part of One UI 6.1 features that differ between the Samsung S23 Ultra and Samsung S24 Ultra. So even though the S23 Ultra has received the One UI 6.1 update and also comes with Galaxy AI features, there are still many features that are not available in the S23 Ultra series. However, for other One UI 6.1 and Galaxy AI features on the S23 Ultra, they appear identical to the S24 Ultra features without any differences. There is a frame feature in the lock screen wallpaper display on the S23 Ultra that is exactly the same as the S24 Ultra wallpaper. Then the lock screen wallpaper settings also include new color effects with options identical to those available on the S24 Ultra. In addition, there is also an option to remove the background in the lock screen wallpaper display, which is also identical to the options available on the S24 Ultra. Then the widget display on the lock screen is also available on the S23 Ultra series, and it is also identical to that on the S24 Ultra series. And for other Galaxy AI features like Generative Wallpaper, you can also access it directly in the wallpaper settings after updating to One UI 6.1 on Samsung S23 Ultra. In addition, there is also a photo editing feature in the gallery called Generative Edit, which can fill in empty areas in the photo when adjusting its position. And of course, you can also use this Generative Photo Edit feature to remove objects from photos as well. And you can also use it to move objects within the photo using the latest Galaxy AI feature on Samsung S23 Ultra after updating to One UI 6.1. Next, for videos in gallery with a normal frame rate of 30 fps, you can also directly view their movement in slow motion by pressing and holding on the video in the gallery. Furthermore, there are also several settings that have changed, such as the battery protection settings, which now has option for basic, adaptive, and maximum. And the options look exactly the same as the options on the S24 Ultra. And for the new Samsung Find app that appeared after updating to One UI 6.1 update, it is also available on the S23 Ultra. If you haven't found it after the update, you can download the Find application directly from the Galaxy Store. And then you can use this application after updating to One UI 6.1. And then of course, the circle to search feature can also be used directly on the S23 Ultra after updating to the latest One UI 6.1. And then to check out other exciting features in One UI 6.1, you can simply tap on the video displayed on the screen. Hopefully this video is helpful. See you in the next one.